right. Greetings, everybody, and welcome to Conflict Radio. Today is July 25th, 2024. And today on the show, we've got Rachel Fiorentino with us. Rachel, how are you today?
I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm all right. As you can see out my window here, everybody, it's been a quite the rainy day. There's rain all over the window, and there are times it's been absolutely just pouring down. And I'll tell you, it is not the day to be outside doing anything out there because it is just pouring down. Let's give a shout out to everybody who's paying us a visit. I see the ace of all trades is in here. Spartano Negative was in here earlier. Puck Elf, how you doing? The Happy Plague Doctor, Shanna Lee, how are you? I see Top Taz is in the house. Champa the Fatso, King of Hunkamundu, Akramuza. Let's see. Hank Stalk, how you doing? MMW, good to see you. And Puck Elf again. Welcome to the show, everybody. Rachel, we're going to be doing some live readings for everybody. So if you guys have questions or just want to get a general reading, we will be able to do that here in just a little bit. But first, let's talk about what actually you're going to be doing the reading with, and that's the tarot. Rachel, what got you started in this, and tell us about it, will you?
Yeah. I think the first time I had ever heard of tarot cards was probably back when I was listening to Art Bell back in the day. So I was probably about like 9 years old, and he was always having such amazing guests, and I would just listen to it and just started learning about like symbolism and the cards and astrology and all the fun stuff that you can imagine when it comes to tarot. And I just kind of started. I got my first deck at 16, just completely fell in love with everything and became a professional by 18. So, and I've loved it ever since.
Okay, so what did you just practice? Did you buy a book like with the set? I think my wife has picked up a few of those actually just because she likes the cards.
Oh, yeah, they're
But
beautiful works of art. Yeah.
you know how sometimes she'll do a reading and then she'll go through the book and then she'll
Mhm.
kind of read what every card means. Do you have to memorize what each one means, or does it just kind of you just kind of figure out the
Well, it's
generality, I guess, of what it's saying?
Yeah, what I teach people is to like look at the symbols of the cards because the symbols of the cards is going to tell you exactly the what the card means. And so that way you don't have to memorize what everything is. You just kind of look to see. And when we're talking about symbolism too, it's about kind of what the reader feels that symbol means to them. So, like for example, like there's a card with like a big red rose on it. It's for my deck. It's the Sun card, and it's got a big red rose on it. Well, for other people, when you think of big red rose, it might mean love, romantic, relationships, things like that. But for me, when I look at a red rose, I think of my mom. So in a reading, even though the Sun card doesn't correlate with um, motherhood or anything like that. But when I see it, I think of my mom. And so I might just ask somebody about like how their mom is doing or something going on with mom. So it's kind of also about what, like I said, like what the person feels connected to when it comes to symbology. Somebody might see like a crucifix and might think of it one way. Somebody else might see a pentagram and feel a different way. So it's all individualized when it comes to symbology, but by utilizing that and getting connected with the symbols, that's how you start getting really deep and connected with your intuition or your subconsciousness and trying to bring it out into the rest of the world.
Now, do you have to do something special with the cards first? Like, do you have to, I guess, put them
Yeah.
near a lit candle or like, have some incense burning or anything like that? I mean, what
There's
what
there's
is it? What is it you have to do to them?
Personally, I don't feel like you have to do anything at all. But I know a lot of people have different rules about it. I'm probably like the least rule oriented person when it comes to these cards. But yeah, some people say you have to sleep underneath them with your pillow. You've got to cleanse them under a full moon. You've got to do, bless them with salt water. There's all different types that I've heard. And again, I think it's whatever is meaningful for you. So if you are more of the Wiccan element, you might want to go towards like more of the saltwater or under the moon type of idea. If you're, it just kind of depends on what your relationship is to kind of either the universe, source, God, your higher self, any of those labels that you want to place on it. It's really specialized. It's really just depends on what you want to do with the cards and what makes you feel more connected to them.
All right. Okay, everybody. So if everybody could hit that like up button, it'll help that more people in here, so that we can have more of an opportunity to have a good card reading session with all of y'all. So hit that thumbs up button. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel, everybody, and let's hit that thumbs up button, because it really does help the algorithm know that there's people in here. And let's do it. Okay, so not everybody could do this, right? I mean, some people just don't have any psychic intuition at all, I suppose, right? Like they're just dumb to the sort of, and maybe dumb's not the right word, but you know what I'm saying? Like
Mhm.
they're just, they don't quite get it. So they're just not going to be able to do it, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think everybody can do it. It does take practice and it does take, um, a relationship with them. So I believe everybody can, but it's just a matter of not everybody will. Everybody can climb Mount Everest, but not everybody will. But a human body can do it. Just might not be yours because you're not willing to put in that effort. So I kind of feel like that's the same thing with the cards, is that everybody has that gift and skill to be able to talk to this source um, and be able to gain knowledge and insight, but not everybody will.
Okay, so doing a tarot reading is kind of like saying that coincidences don't happen, because it's a coincidence, the cards that you get, right? So there's no such thing as coincidences.
Well, I call it more synchronicity. So
Mhm.
it's the idea of that. So Carl Jung used the term synchronicity, meaning that, yeah, it's kind of like a coincidence, but with more meaning. So I have a meaning with a certain card, and therefore, like when I see that card, I might think of a deeper level of it. So I know it gets a little gray when we start talking about coincidence and synchronicity, but so yes, I mean, I kind of feel like it's it it's not a coincidence when a card lays down. It's the message that you're needing to hear. It's your higher power that might have shuffled it, or it's my connection to my higher power that is connected with yours to shuffle the cards and to come up with that certain card on top. So out of 78 cards, and the one that appears, that's not necessarily coincidence. That's more of synchronicity that I'm placing meaning onto it. So you have better insight of what your question is.
Would you consider yourself a witch?
I have at times. I used to really follow Wiccan. I was a Wiccan high priestess for a long time. Anymore, I kind of I like the term like a pantheist, meaning like the universe is God. So so it's like you can use that term interchangeably, but it's not, God to me is not, a person, or it's more of energies. Just like the universe is created energies. The universe is God, for lack of better words.
Okay. Wanda E says, question: if a person is not a pro and goes by the book, are they of value?
Yeah, they can still be of value. You can still get insight from it. But I would really highly recommend putting down that book and just reading what you see in the card. It can be anything from, like, you might see somebody handing something else to another person, so in the Six of Stones, there's a person handing coins to other people, so you can just look at that, and you don't have to necessarily know the meaning. But if you see somebody giving stones to another, you can easily look at that, saying, that, are you a giver or are you a receiver? That's where your intuition starts coming in. So I think the book is a great foundation, a great way to start. But in order to start getting into our intuition and to like that psychic ability, we do have to put that book down and start looking at the card symbolism and connecting that way.
Okay, let me ask you this: aren't there are white and black witches, right?
Um, they say that. I don't necessarily believe in white and black. I believe that every witch has the power to do good and evil. Um, but it anytime anybody does anything that manipulates another, I think is working with dark energies.
Okay, so what would you say to somebody who would suggest that just reading tarot cards alone is satanic and whatnot? I mean, they're
Yeah.
out there. I mean, I see them
Oh
in the
yeah.
chat now. So,
Oh yeah. Oh
I mean,
yeah.
they're there.
Yes, I did a party for a very well-known company a couple of weeks ago, and somebody came up to me and told me all about his beliefs on the cards and how I'm going to hell. So that was very interesting. I just gave him some love and told him to carry on. But it's not at all. I mean, I think part of the reason why the cards kind of get a bad rap is a few things. One, Catholicism, which I apologize if I offend anybody by saying that, but between Catholicism and Hollywood, they've really turned the cards into something that is not what they are.
Yeah,
So,
the two biggest.
mhm,
I guess I can't say it, but they're the two biggest defenders of
mhm,
shall we
mhm.
say, uh, children activities,
Yes,
right?
yes, there
Hollywood
we
and the
go.
Catholic Church. There you go.
Yes,
Let's listen to them about what they have to
yes,
say about tarot cards while they're doing what
right.
they want with the little boy and the little
Hmm.
girl. And
Right, because they've
tell
done
me
so
again how
well
we
with
should
that.
listen to what they say. Okay,
Exactly.
so yeah, I have a
So,
big problem with both of those
oh,
entities, and
yeah,
hopefully the exposure just comes out. Yeah,
yeah, that would
I
be
think
lovely.
the third person who would be telling us that the tarot cards are bad is Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Tell me more. Tell me more, you crazy people. Okay, so have you done any readings as far as I'm just going to throw some stuff out there, the presidential election coming up, or you know, the wars that are going on in the world, anything like that that you can that you could tell us about, or I mean, if not, maybe you could do some now.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it was interesting. The other day I did one for the election, and I had said and this was of course before this weekend happened, but um they were asking me like, is Biden going to win election? And I was like, no, but like that side ends up winning, but it's not him. And of course, that was a few weeks ago, and now we see, Kamala running. So I thought that was kind of interesting. So um, I have not done a reading for the election since Kamala has started running, but I can. It'd be interesting to find
I
out.
don't think she's going to be the I don't think she's going to be the nominee.
You don't think she's going to do it? That's
Well,
typically, yeah.
I think that they need to let the people vote.
Hmm.
You know, they should have.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no reason why they couldn't throw together a quick nationwide election and
Hmm.
let the people vote. You know,
Yeah. So what's really interesting though is that I get the um, the daughter of wands or the princesses of wands. So it's talking about, again, when we're talking about the election, it's talking about that female energy that's coming out. But one thing that's interesting is that when it's talking about her, it's talking about a stable force. So that's interesting, that it's coming out like as far as like harmony. So we've got this two of stones, which is saying like the stabilizing force is coming with it. So I'm kind of interested on how that all happens by having her win the election and still having a stabilizing force with everything else that's going on.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll see. Anything else on that?
Yeah. Yeah. Let me see what's going on. Oof. So yeah, I wanted to see what is going to lead up until then, though that's also part of the issue. And so that's where it's talking about a lot of conflict. So with that, I end up getting the Five of Wands, which is just showing like every side is just pushing and pulling, and just but by pushing and pulling, it's releasing a whole bunch of other truths that are out there. So that's really interesting, and that's going to be fascinating to keep seeing that unfold. But with that, you end up getting the Father of Wands, which is also talking, which I think we can kind of say, who the Father of Wands is, would be Trump. And Trump being able to kind of show some openness and show some things that leads this conflict as well. So by leading that conflict, um, so it's very interesting that here we have this like leading of conflict, but then when the election happens, everything comes back to this nice harmonious level. But up to it is a lot of that fire energy, a lot of that energy of like that push pull that is just constant until then.
Okay. What could you tell us about the future of the sun? Now, I've been hearing a lot about, and I don't know if you've heard this at all, about like a solar flash that's supposed to happen. It's going to send a bunch of uh, uh, interdimensional protons at us that are gonna put us in a higher state of being. It's gonna be
Mhm.
like a great awakening, so to
Yeah.
speak, for humanity. We're gonna be able, after this happens, we're gonna be able to, move rocks and boulders with our mind, and we're gonna be able to be telepathic and all of this stuff. W- What does it say
Mhm.
about anything like that? Do we have anything going on, not just on the Great Awakening, but for the
Mhm.
sun?
So when we're talking about that, the first thing that comes up is that death card. So as we were talking, it's that death of a chapter of our lives, death of a chapter of, the Earth's life as well. The as far as like not death as in the whole world explodes and none of us are here anymore, but death of that conscious state that leads us into another state of being, is exactly where it's going. And with it, though, I love that we get this happiness card. So we get the Six of Cups, which is talking about that we're going to be able to really utilize this energy, really utilize this like shedding of the ego, shedding of all those things that no longer serves us, and be able to really enjoy this new power that we have. So I love that. Yes, it is a big change. I don't know if everybody's going to make it through that big change, but when that does happen, the people that are still here are going to be the ones that are going to be completely absorbed in what they can do and can completely utilize the new skills that we have from the sun.
Yes, Spartano Negative says a solar flare reset would be better than World War. So,
Something to be said about that.
I mean,
Yes.
it would kind of,
Mhm.
hopefully the solar flare hurry up and come, because we could wind up with a nuclear exchange, and then all the survivors will come out of the bunker and get hit with a solar flare.
Yes.
That would kind of suck. You'd be like, oh man, you're a little late, son. Already
You're like,
stuck down
oh,
here. Uh,
tried so hard.
so what do you think of are you able to do you think the cards kind of tune into the records?
Yeah, they absolutely can. I believe that a lot of people are able to use it to be able to connect with like the Akashic records and everything else that has been laid out beyond this earth. So I feel like they absolutely can connect.
All right. So I gotta ask, what's it looking like for the country?
Good one.
I mean,
Hmm.
it's kind of not looking too good. I mean, if Kamal if Kamal, or however you say her name. I'm not meaning any disrespect. I just I just don't pay enough attention.
Yeah.
If she wins, I mean, there's gonna I mean, they're gonna blame it on illegal voting, and they're gonna blame it on cheating,
Mhm.
and everything else. I mean, I just don't see how the country would survive such a thing. Is there anything
Mhm.
afterwards?
So,
Or before?
mhm,
There's I mean, we're hearing that there's, obviously darkness to light, right? So there's going to be
mhm,
a lot of truth that comes out, and the truth doesn't look good for the deep state. So
right.
how would they be able to pull off this election?
So what's interesting when you're talking about the truth is the card that comes out is the knowledge card. So it's that idea of that we're really going to know the truth among what's happening. And by being able to have that truth though, we're going to use that chariot. So we're going to take control of the reins and be able to really control that truth and be able to go like, we're not buying it anymore. We're gonna believe the truth that we know is now real, and being able to do that. And I think that power by all of us collectively holding that power and of the reins, we can control where this country goes. So that's what's great is I know I'm a little bit more optimistic it's looking like than than most people when it comes to what's happening here lately. But I think by being able to use the power, we can control where the country is going. And I think that's part of what we need to do to reconcile all the differences, both the inner, the outer, the unconscious, the subconscious, the outer consciousness, all of those, to be able to like start directing it into the way that we want to go.
Well, I mean, I'll be honest. I'll be honest with you. I don't see if war breaks out with Russia
Mhm.
because Biden's in office, they're not going to have any patriots signing up to go to war. Nobody's gonna want to fight that war for him.
No,
So
no.
it's gonna be pretty sad. Akram Musa wants to know, how often do you get it wrong?
Well, that's kind of difficult to say, right? Because the moment that I say it, it can change since the future isn't written in stone. And that's where it gets a little complicated when people say, like, well, you prove it, prove your skills. Well, I can say what I see, but you have the power to take it and can change it.
But
So
isn't the future already written in stone in the Akashic records?
that's what some people say. Yeah, I personally believe that the future is very malleable and we can change it at any time. And so we've got free will. So it might be written somewhere that says, this, and this, but I feel that because of our own consciousness, we change it and we have our own free will to change things the way we want it to be.
So there could be different timelines.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Do you believe in different dimensions, so to speak, where I mean, there
Mhm.
could be 1,000 different ones going on right now with 1,000
Mhm.
different me's that all have lived 1,000 different
Yeah.
lives in 1,000 different directions?
Yeah, like the ginormous multiverse. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, so do I. I
Hmm.
really do believe that that's true.
Yeah.
So you getting a reading and stopping it could just be that you're changing a timeline or taking a
Yeah.
timeline that. Now, can you
For this
see?
timeline. I'm not changing it for all the timelines, but we're changing it for this timeline that we're
Yeah,
for
yeah,
this consciousness.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because every timeline is going to be different.
Yeah, yeah. In another multiverse, you might not get a tarot reader that's going to have you launch yourself into a different direction. So that's where it gets hard, to predict exactly 100%.
David Gosling said he felt lonely on X, so he came over here. David, we did start streaming on X, but there's not that many followers over there. So if you guys want to go over to X and subscribe to Conflict Radio over there, go ahead and do that. I think we've got like 600 followers or 400 or something like that. I don't know. I don't really pay it any mind, but I use the crap out of that platform, and I'm on it, yapping my mouth off all of the time. What could you tell us about? I'm sorry, I'm getting text. That's what that I have that Star Trek
Oh, I
X
love it.
thing. If anybody's trying to figure that out. What could you tell us about? Could you tell us if there are? f- Uh, I guess I'm trying to think of a way to say it to where it's not limited to aliens. Could you tell us if there's another intelligent life here on Earth? Can we do a reading on that? And not being that it could be a breakaway civilization, or it could be an intelligent from another planet that maybe been here for a while. What is it? What is it that we can maybe learn from the cards on that topic?
Yeah, let's see. Ooh, when we talk about that, here we go. We got some major hitters here. So first thing that comes up when we talk about that is that Tower card. So that tells me that yes, that there's been many people that have lived here. If we want to call them aliens or some other kind of species, beings, any of that, whether it's been physical or unconscious state or any of that. But yes, they. What I'm seeing here is actually that they have been here, but I'm not seeing them here anymore. But what they've left is a lot of that intuition, that guidance, that that psychic powers, those powers that we can utilize. But what's kind of sad though is that I feel like we're not listening to what they gave us. They're not listening, or we're not listening to everything that we um, like all the guidance that they had left for us. And so when you talk about, if there's any species here now, I'm not seeing the species here on this earth now. However, like I said, the guidance has been left and we're not listening to that guidance. So that kind of
And that
makes
was
me
from
wonder.
the good energy aliens, right? Or or
Yeah,
species or whatever. What
yeah,
does it
yeah.
say? Can we ask about any evil entities that are here now?
That are still here. Whew. First card that comes out is death again.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, I don't think I need to say any more further than saying, yeah, there's the death card there again when we talk about
So they're here.
the dark entities. Mm-hmm.
Do you think that they're fallen angels?
Hmm.
What do you think about religion using the cards? Do you think that there's a God, and I mean, obviously, I mean the idea that there's a heaven and hell, I think is kind of ridiculous. I mean, there's
Mhm.
obviously not like this lake of fire where we're going to go if we do things bad and burn for all of eternity. That's just stupid.
Yeah,
I
agreed.
mean, I think it's more of a an ascension thing. Like
Mhm.
if you live a good life, maybe you go up to the next higher dimension. If you live a bad life, you go down to a lower dimension.
Yeah,
And that's what I think. I think 3D very well could be kind of the bottom of the barrel here.
yeah.
I mean,
I mean, it feels
unless you
like
want
it,
to come
doesn't
back
it?
as a rock or something.
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean, as I kind of tell, or as I like to look at it, it's like how can you explain a helicopter to an ant? Knowing the idea that I feel like we're the ants in this universe, right? That we are probably, yeah, at that bottom of that barrel kind of idea. And we've got so much that we still have to learn. But our brains and our physical and this physical body, I don't think can really handle everything until we're out of this body. Then we can start learning and growing more.
Okay, I'm reading there was a question here,
Hmm.
and I lost it in the thing, but it was a good one. Oh, okay, here it is. I see it. Is the Antichrist already here? Can you ask?
Hmm. That's intense. Holy shit. I'm not even making this up, guys. It's the devil card that came out when we asked that question.
So that's a
So,
yes.
yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. I think we're in these times. Is there
Mhm.
any way we can get a clue on who it is?
Hmm. It's not giving me any faces like a king, queen, princess or anything like that. But what's interesting is that when we're talking about like the Antichrist, the devil, all that kind of stuff, is one thing is that their role is to also make a change, whether we like it or not. It has a lot to do with change that we are not doing ourselves. So the devil is usually somebody that's kind of forcing us to get out of our ego, forcing us to get beyond, this meat package of ours, and to be able to get to that next stage. So when we look at things like that, yeah, the Antichrist is here and is helping, quote, right? Being able to get to that next stage. And the only way that we get to that next stage is to burn it all down to the ground and start on a next higher level.
I guess we'd have to build back better.
Exactly. Yeah,
Throw that out there.
that's exactly it. That's where we get this. But when we talk about the devil, we talk about the strength card, which the strength is saying like, it's still not the end. It's the end of what we used to know. And it's going to be the beginning. Using our internal strength, we're going to be able to go to that next level.
Okay, what would your cards tell us? All right, first off, let me just go ahead and get this out of the way. Do you know who Corn Pop is?
Corn Pop, I don't.
Okay, what would your cards say about Corn Pop? Is there anything that this is we ask every guest if they know who Corn Pop is, so this is gonna be fun for everybody. What do your cards say about Corn Pop?
Okay, so the first thing that came out is the Three of Wands, which gives me the sense that Corn Pop is not part of this meat package of the world. So I'm thinking Corn Pop is somebody that has already moved past
That's
this
pretty
world.
good. You're exactly right. What
Yeah.
else? What can you tell us about him?
Yeah, I mean, he also,
Personality, I suppose.
yeah, he's coming off as like the Son of Stones. So, which is telling me is that kind of that old wise one. So, definitely that old soul, whether he was old and wise in this world or just an old wise soul, but somebody that definitely also did a lot of thinking. We've got the Eight of Swords, which is saying that this person was grounded in a sense of being able to share all the knowledge to others, but was also a major thinker. So just really analyzing things and reanalyzing and trying to figure things out and how things work. So I kind of have this feeling like that since he's passed on, he's learned a lot of all this analyzing that he wants, and he feels extremely I don't want to say happy. I don't get that kind of emotion from him. Like he's just like super happy kind of guy, but this like very analytical, sciencey kind of guy going, I knew it kind of feel.
So he might have been a bad dude.
Like in
the
this
cards
world?
say like when he was alive, was he a good or bad person?
I don't necessarily see good or bad. I see just very analytical. And always, trying to think about what else is there and cause and reactions and consequences when this happens and when that happens. So I don't look at things being so binary as like, good or bad, but the idea of that trying to figure out how all of this works.
That's pretty awesome. Thank you so much for that. That was great for humoring us through that. Just so you know, Corn Pop was that I guess he like got into a fight with Biden when Biden was a lifeguard at a pool or something like that, and Biden said he was a bad dude. So that's just
Interesting.
it's something we always ask somebody, and some people come out. We always ask, do you know who Corn Pop is? And some people know, and they'll be like, "Oh, he was a bad dude," and some people don't have any idea at all.
Oh,
That was
interesting.
perfect. He did die. He is dead. So it's
Mhm.
perfect that that you hit that right on the nose.
Interesting.
So this is kind of fun, guys, don't you think? If anybody has any questions, not for your own personal, let's is it okay if we delve into this a little bit with some of the people? Let's see if they have any questions about
Yeah.
future events or current events that are going on in the world, and maybe maybe we can get into this a little bit. What Just so I'll start it out here. What would the cards say about, say, um Jeffrey Epstein.
Mm.
Was he? I guess it wouldn't tell us if he was murdered or not, right? Like, I suppose I don't know even know if I probably should have said that on YouTube. That's probably a flag word. I probably get in trouble for that.
Right. Um,
I'll get a strike for that.
yeah, right. Yeah. Now they're going to be pounding on your door here soon.
Yeah. Like, well, what's that about?
So, oh wow. So this is super creepy. And I didn't ask the question, I just asked about him. And when we see about him, we get the power card, we get oppression, and we get the chariot. So what that is showing is that yeah, he used his power to oppress. He used his power to control and manipulate, um, but control and manipulate in his way. And so that's pretty intense. I'm trying to. Oh yeah, he there was some help there when it comes to his death. Definitely, he did not. I've never asked the question to the cards before, but yeah, he was not alone at the moment of his death.
Yeah, I think
Mhm,
everybody pretty much agrees with you. I mean,
mhm,
even people investigating it find it odd that I guess the security guard fell asleep and the camera malfunctioned and
mhm,
all these things happen coincidentally at the exact same time to make it,
mhm.
I
Yeah, that's
guess
what we call synchronicity.
not quite human wants to know if Trump's going to win. You answered that, didn't you?
Yeah, yeah.
So, not quite human. She said Trump is not going to win. It's going to be Kamala Harris that wins the election
Mhm.
coming up. Is there even going to be an election? It,
Ooh.
now, let's ask the question the right way.
Mhm.
Is there going to be an election in November?
Um, interesting. So, what comes up is the Seven of Cups, which is the illusion of success. So, I think that explains it all, doesn't it? So, that tells me yes, and that it might all be this like,
An
you know,
illusion of
an
success.
illusion. That's very interesting.
That could be, yeah.
Hmm.
That's interesting. You got to kind of wonder if Kamala wins, what the illusion of winning would actually mean.
Right, right.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So do the work in your own mind there, guys.
Hmm.
Let's see. David Gosling wants to know, and I guess this is a question about himself, so maybe I shouldn't do that. But you know what? Why not? It could be fun. He wants to know, will I win the lottery this year? I had a dream or two about it.
Oh,
And this is
well,
David Gosling. I don't know if that's his real name or not. But
sure, sure. So, I hate to say this, no, I'm not seeing that large of amount of money, but what I am seeing is that money coming in to be able to um, help you continue onto your path. So the idea of that you're going to have enough to be able to survive and not, or I should actually word it this way, like you'll have enough to thrive more and not just to survive, not to just be on this surface level, but you're going to be able to, so it's not necessarily winning the lottery per se of getting um, that hunk of money all at once, but it's a matter of like being able to elevate to that next level where we're going to be able to like thrive a little bit more, where money's going to be able to come in a little bit more, and feel like you can do more with it. So the idea of like being able to, either give or just feel a little bit more at ease with the money you do have.
okay. What about the Great Reset, so to speak? You know how they talk
Mhm.
about, the Great Reset, Jasara Nasara. Have you heard of Jasara Nasara?
No, I haven't heard of that. I've heard of like the Great Reset and like everybody starting from zero again, or the fool, as the tarot readers call it.
Okay. Well, I'm not exactly well versed on exactly what Jasara Nasara is, but it has
Yeah.
something to do with the wealth being confiscated from all these deep state people and redistributed to the world after
Mm-hmm.
their, I guess, crimes have been exposed.
Mm.
What do the cards say about a great reset or the monetary situation for the world in the future?
Sure. Ooh. So we get that eight of stones again, which is, if you think about numerology, right, that it's that idea that zero is obviously like at the valley, and you figure that nine is the top. That's the hill of it all. So when you look at numerology, what's coming up is that eight of stones. So stones represent our physical. So both money, material, our physical bodies, things like that. So when you put those two together, we're talking about eight. So it's the idea that not everybody is at that high end nine, but everybody becomes an eight, which is interesting. So that's how much the people have, is that you figure that they're at a nine, but if they were to distribute their wealth, we all become an eight, which is like really insane to think that we would rise up, from zero to an eight to be able, with that kind of money that gets redistributed, where they just come down by one. So that's kind of interesting to see how much money they have. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Okay, let me give a thanks to David for the super sticker. Really do appreciate it, guys. There's some really great questions coming in. Keep them coming, and I will star them so that they don't go away. And let's get this started. Brian wants to know: are we going to have open contact with advanced beings in the near future?
Oh,
That's a good one.
yeah. I
I love
like
it
that.
when they ask questions that
All
I
these
find
questions have
interesting.
been, yeah, all these questions have been great. Um, so yeah, absolutely. But what's interesting again is that all these questions have been so interesting, as well as the cards. But the way that they're coming, I don't know. We're not going to see them as like physical beings. I think they're going to be something other than, the way we have in our meat package bodies here. That because I'm not seeing any stones, I'm not seeing anything as far as like a physical realm, but I'm seeing a lot of things like, we've got the swords and we've got the cups. So it's saying that it's more of like this ethereal plane, this like plane that we might not be able to see them in this type of body, but we will be in contact with them.
Okay. So do you have to shuffle between each one, I suppose?
It kind of depends if like, so some of those questions I didn't reshuffle because it's like it's been like continuous questions, but if it comes to a different person, like another person asking a question, I'll reshuffle.
Okay. All right. So Miss Tessa Marie says, I just feel so lost. I need some guidance. Will things get better or are they going to continue to get worse in my life for me?
Mm, that hurts my heart. um, let's see what we got here. Yeah, I mean, part of it is that we have this like feeling of being useless. We've got the seven of swords, which is saying like everything is just going, all the swords are just going inwards, and we're not being able to really utilize these things. We're not being able to utilize our mental powers, and we're not being able to utilize kind of like our purpose of what we are trying to do in this lifetime. What's again really dominant when we ask this question is it's talking about a teacher. So it's talking about like, a lot more than I think you have let on, or you have a lot more knowledge that you're not sharing with other people. And I think this is the time that you need to be starting to share that knowledge that you have to others. And I think it's one of those things that the more you share your knowledge, the more you're going to realize how much you do have. And that's going to help you realize that that's not, that you don't have to feel useless with the knowledge that you have. But by sharing that with others and being able to turn around, Like you'll end up kind of raising everybody else's vibrational level because of what you're teaching them. But by doing that, you're able to kind of collect that energy as well and have you take that next step up as well. So it's kind of like the more you give, the more you're going to be able to receive, but it's more on that like that teacher level. And to be able to turn around and collect that abundance, abundance meaning like energy wise, to be able to feel less like you don't have a purpose in life, because your purpose is to teach others. So we might as well get on that and start utilizing that, because the more we can, the more I think you're going to feel more in control of your own life.
All right. So, excuse me, everybody. Let me mute this for a second so I can. All right, there we go. Let's give Miss Tessa some good vibes, and let's think about her and send her some good vibes and some good juju, and you know, Miss Tessa, everything's gonna be just fine. You'll see, everything works out just the way it's supposed to. Davy Jones Locker wants to know: will there be a nuclear bomb explosion within a year?
Ooh, that's intense.
That's a deep question. I think we're gonna see one. Let's see what the cards say. I could be wrong. Hopefully, I'm wrong, but
yeah. So we are going to be dangerously close this time. It's
somebody's going to get hit. Just say it.
Yeah.
What does it say?
But what's interesting is that I don't feel we're going to be hit.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like maybe Paris or London or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna. You know, I think so too. That's gonna rock the world.
It's almost feeling like it's gonna be like an island. It's gonna be somewhere small. So it doesn't. It's
Taiwan.
Enough. Oh, yeah. It's enough that it's you know, yes, it's going to happen, but I don't see it affecting as many people as it could. But I feel like there's water completely around it, like an island.
So not as many people. What you're saying is, so it doesn't sound like it'd be Great Britain. I mean, that's an island, or
yeah.
Huh,
No,
well.
I'm seeing it smaller. So, and I almost feel like this is a more of a
test.
A test, kind of, not that they're testing bombs, but a show of force.
Yeah.
But it feels like that's all it happens, is like the show of force. I'm not seeing as many people. I mean, I do see disaster and I do see people dying, but I'm not seeing as many that could die. So that tells me that this might be more of an isolated place, an isolated island. Probably, I wouldn't say Taiwan then, since that's so condensed, but something where it's a show of force, but it's enough that everybody goes, oh, okay, you called our bluff.
All right. Let's see here. I had Chris popped in here. He said, "Do me, I'm an Aries," but that's not really how we're doing it, Chris. You got to just pop in with a question. I don't want to bore everybody else with a reading on just one certain person. I mean, unless it's me. And why don't you go ahead and do that? Tell me what I've got coming up here. Let's say let's say within the next year. I actually just found out that I had I probably shouldn't spoil it. I should let you go ahead first.
Let's see. And of course, if I get somewhere too personal, you can tell me to
Oh yeah, don't worry about it. Seriously, like I don't, I don't hide nothing from everybody. I mean,
yeah.
Other than who I am. Right, go ahead.
Okay, so what I love is that you are I'm not so. Just please remember, like, you're not the Antichrist, but you are a devil. So it's somebody that's pushing us beyond our own realms. So think about your show, right? That's exactly what you're doing, is that you're pushing us to think. You're pushing us to go beyond what we see and hear, to be able to see what else we can do. So in that sense, you're kind of that devil, somebody that's pushing us beyond our own limitations and beyond our fear. I love the idea that you've got a contract that has just either been signed or is going to be signing soon. That is going to be, that signature in return is going to end up giving you some money. So that's a nice thing. But because of this money, it's going to be able to turn around and give you kind of a bigger stage, a bigger podium to be able to voice these things and to voice this, again, pushing people into a bigger and but doing it on a larger scale that's going to keep coming. So if you haven't signed that contract yet, then I would say make sure you do that soon, because this is going to give you that, just that bigger platform that you're needing to be able to reach more people. One thing about that contract, though, is you're going to have to release some of these fears. I know, I mean, it's not necessarily like fear of abundance or fear, but I think there's something to be said about having such a larger audience, that people see you and understand you and look at you as somebody that they can look up to. So there's like pros and cons when it comes with that, right? I mean, I'm kind of getting off track here, but it's that kind of idea of like, look, for example, what happened with Art Bell, right? He had a very large audience to the point where, his son was kidnapped. So that is a very scary fear, that the more you're out there, the more you can be.
Wait, what?
Mm-hmm.
His son was kidnapped?
Yeah.
I didn't hear about this.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So this was years and years ago. Yeah. God, I can't even remember now when it was. Was that
That's crazy. I don't remember that at all.
Okay.
So, anything else?
Yeah. So it's saying like, the more that you get out there, release that fear. You don't have to keep on it. I think you have enough, do I say like critical reasoning and critical thought, that when the time to move forward is and when to hold strong. And so don't use that as being a fear, but use that as know where your limits are, but don't use it as a fear.
Okay.
Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah, I suppose so.
Okay.
Does it say anything about my health at all? Because I just actually found out I have a degenerative disc disease.
That one's a bummer. Yeah, I will say I do see you having surgery, and
I'm probably gonna have to cancel some shows, guys.
Yeah,
just throwing that out there.
But one thing about the surgery is that be careful. There's that fine line between, trying to hold off as long as possible, but then you hold off too much that it's almost like there's nothing to work with to fix. Does that make sense?
Yeah. They said with my imaging that for somebody as young as me, they've never seen it so bad. Like the whole from the part where my tailbone is to the first vertebrae there is completely gone, and that's what's causing me all my leg problems.
Yeah, so. That'll do it.
All right, so let's move on. That's just found that out yesterday, guys. So it is what it is, right? I mean, it's just the way it goes. Top Taz wants to know, what's the fate of Ukraine?
Ooh.
And I'll get that off of there. I don't know how YouTube likes talking about that either. I got a strike once talking about Ukraine. I try to avoid it now.
Oh. Oof.
Yeah, they don't like talking about it.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it's a very heavily censored topic on YouTube.
Oh, wow.
But go for it.
Yeah.
Just don't say the word.
Yeah. So what it's saying is that, okay, so what's coming up for it is the goddess Kali, which for anybody that knows Hindu gods and goddesses, Kali is the goddess of destruction. So I'm feeling like everything is going to end up getting burned to the ground. But with destruction, though, is always that rebirth, right? And that rebuilding. So you've got Kali, the goddess of destruction, and right next to her, you've got Brahma, which is kind of like the goddess or the god of like rebirth and creativity. So it's looking like it might all be burned to the ground. However, it'll give that country time to rebuild. I think this is going to be a very, very long process. So this is not something that we will see in our lifetime of having this country regain its itself.
Yeah. Okay. Dr. Strangelove wants to know, can the cards answer a simple, is the earth round or flat?
I'm going to say it's round, but let's see what what card shows.
I really think it's round too.
I'm kind of curious if it is going to show me a round or a flat card, though.
Like I do have an open mind about it, but
okay, I'm not just looking at these cards and pulling out, but it is showing round.
Okay. Stefan wants to know, how will passing out of the universe horizon affect Earth the next 3 years? It's like, I guess the Earth and our solar system is flying through space and going through all these new boundaries, and I think we've already crossed into it. But go ahead, we'll see what the cards say about his question there.
Wow, what's coming up is the Fool card. So it's showing this like bringing it to a zero level or a Fool level, or this level of starting again, this level of like more of like this purity sense. Though the Fool is like really kind of, this ignorance is bliss kind of being, and so it's showing by being able to do that, there comes this this ignorance place with all of us. But it's the idea that it comes down to a zero level for us to start over again.
All right. Well, there you go, buddy. Spartano Negative wants to know, ask the cards how Walt Disney ever learned about Tinkerbell. Where did they get that information from? That's an interesting question.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about Walt Disney and Tinkerbell?
Wow. So what it's showing is that it came about from a destruction of himself, and that by being able to like it was kind of like an internal destruction within himself. And Tinkerbell was kind of like that spot of hope. I don't know if this is somebody better check this out. I don't know if anybody knows the real question or the real answer to this, but it's showing like him being completely destroyed internally, but there's this little sparkle of hope that was out there that he was holding on to, and somehow that became Tinkerbell.
Well, there you go, guys. That's pretty interesting to dig around in. Spartan, go dig up on that and let me know, and send me an email, info@conflictradio.net, what you find, if you're curious. And Davy Jones Locker wants to know, first off, I suppose, is there a Bigfoot, and what does he have to do with all of this?
Good question.
Do you ever get Bigfoot questions?
I haven't had a Bigfoot question, but I am in Colorado, so all of us are always waiting for Sasquatch to come by.
Yeah, boy, isn't that the truth? I lived in Colorado Springs for a while. And
oh, yeah.
Where in Colorado are you?
We're always looking. I'm in Denver.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. So we're always, anytime we head for the hills, we're always looking.
I used to go hang out at the church there.
The church,
it's like it was a nightclub. Yeah. Yeah.
I used to go there a long time ago, back when I was,
Yeah,
young and in the
back in
dance.
the mid 2000s, I guess is
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
it was early.
exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. We
I
might
might
have
have
run
ran into
into
you
each
there.
other.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's crazy.
It's a small
Um,
world.
right, right. Um, again, it's coming up with the devil card. This is just so funny that it just kind of keeps repeating some of these things so that tells me that yes, I mean, I think we all believe in Sasquatch and we know that they are around. Um, and I think that's all part of making us think beyond our own limitations, beyond our own ego and our own humanness, to be able to think that there's something else out there, something else out there, like aliens or beings or anything like that. And I think this is just another one of those members that tells us that there's something beyond, our arrogant human minds. So the Sasquatch is telling us that there's more beyond just what we keep thinking about. There's a lot more that we don't see.
Can you ask it if Bigfoot, since we're on that topic, you don't have to shuffle.
Mhm.
Can you ask if Bigfoot is a Nephilim?
Oh, I don't know enough of them. Huh?
Nephilim is the children of the is an angel human hybrid.
Mm. It's actually saying no.
All right. Well, there you go,
That's
guys.
interesting. That's
Are they
interesting. Yeah.
interdimensional?
Mm. Oh, yes. We got the High Priestess card with that.
Well, there you
Yes.
go.
Hmm.
All right. So they're not the Nephilim.
No,
All right.
but something that, yeah, definitely interdimensional, and they're more of the well, that's kind of interesting. They're more of like the like a father figure, so like more of a like keeper of the world in other dimensions. So you can kind of look at it as like Mother Earth in another dimension.
Okay. Let's see here. John Glad wants to know, will World War III happen before 2025?
Hmm.
Or will it even happen at all? So it might not even happen.
Yeah. Um, no, to be honest, no, I don't see it happening then. But there's going to be a time that we all end up becoming very turning inward. So that tells me that whatever happens on the outside, so whether that's like not necessarily war, but something that happens, the earth is just on fire like it is right now, where um, fire, things like that is happening that makes us turn inside or go inwards, which is going to be a major shift for us to be able to come inwards, to be able to process a lot of things that are going on and to be able to come back out. But I don't see it necessarily being a war.
Do you see it as a scare event?
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
that I
Well,
do.
there's a lot of people that would suggest that a big scare event is coming.
Hmm.
Do the cards show anything about a possible civil strife in the United States?
Mm. Um, Yeah, it brings out the justice card when we ask that question.
Yeah.
So,
Oh shit.
yeah, so it's that idea of like, yeah, we're going to have to weigh some of these things out. Um,
So basically, to put
but
it in context, you basically said that Kamala's going to win, or at least have an illusion of winning, and then the
mhm,
justice card's coming.
mhm. So it's the idea of like trying to maintain that balance, trying to maintain it all again.
Oh, that's going to be interesting. I
Hmm.
really think that we're in for interesting times. That's for sure. Do you
Hmm.
think that
Yeah.
Trump's actually going to survive the rest of this year? Can we
Oh
ask that
God.
question?
Oh. Um, when we ask that question, it brings out the Ten of Wands, which is oppression. So that tells me if he does survive, it's a matter of being pushed back, being held back.
What do you mean by that?
Meaning like being like pushed or held back, whether that's like physically or physically, like being pushed back as far as like being isolated, or pushed back being like his voice is taken away, or pushed where he is not on the stage like he is now.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's move on. Top Taz wants to know, and I guess we'll get you started on the shuffling. How will the immigration and Muslim culture affect Europe?
So when we ask that question, what comes up is the Mother of Cups, which is talking about like, trying to process this more on the emotional side. But by processing that on the emotional side, so kind of emotionally trying to find that balance for Europe versus their immigration. But it's looking like Europe really wants to take more control for themselves. Which makes me wonder if they're taking more control of themselves and trying to do it kind of on this emotional side. It makes me wonder if their emotions are going to get extreme to the point where they're going to take control and try to push all of them out, or push either, I know they're already in a lot of reform, immigrational reform, but whether it's a matter of like pushing everybody out because of this like higher sense of emotion that they're going to be going through when they're trying to take control.
Who's going to try to take control, the Europeans or the Muslims?
Yeah, Europeans.
Okay. Well, I mean, it is their country, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
Good for them. Let's see here. Robert Bell wants to know, is the U.S. banking system going to survive?
Yeah, that's a big question, huh?
And while she's shuffling, guys, if you have any questions for our guest today, now's the time to ask. We've got about 20 minutes left here, and then we're going to wrap it up. This has been a lot of fun. Thanks so much for doing this.
Yeah, thank you.
And you've got your own YouTube channel, you said?
Yeah, Bridge the Gap Tarot on YouTube, and bridgethegaptarot.com.
Yeah, I've got the link. Do you have the YouTube link down on your page? I have the link to the website down below, but not the YouTube video.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, it's just at Bridge the Gap Tarot.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, thanks.
So, what'd you come up with there?
Yeah, so we've got the Seven of Stones, which is showing basically money being thrown out, thrown away, thrown across the room, basically the universal room.
Yeah, it is just paper, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. Think about that. I Uber and Lyft, a lot on my off time, and when I'm dropping people off at work, I tell them, I say, don't work too hard. They're just paying you in paper.
Mm-hmm.
They start giving you silver. Work harder.
Yeah,
and that's really the way it
very
is.
True.
To work and work for paper is so stupid. I mean that we're and it's so sad because for one, I don't see how we're going to get off the deep state and keep the deep state money, and on the other side, it's wow, what a lot of paper garbage.
Mm-hmm.
Like it.
Yeah,
I just don't see how the dollar can survive when the whole world's going to a gold-backed currency. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, and that's part of our human illusion, right? is that our illusion is in this paper, but it's a matter of what do we do with this paper that makes our life more complete.
All right. Let me ask you this. What does the card say about Hollywood? Are they going to be exposed pretty soon? I guess if
Mm.
anybody has any questions, go ahead. Now's the chance. Don't make me think of all of them. I'll come up with some stupid ones. We see a lot going on with Diddy, with
Mhm.
I mean, Nickelodeon. I mean, all this stuff's
Ugh.
coming out. I mean, they're going to be totally exposed, aren't they?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Do we have a
Yeah.
timeline on that at all?
Um, no, when we ask the timeline, it brings up the Ace of Cups, which I would say that means, within 1 year from now. But it's talking about, yeah, it's kind of that idea of um, in Hollywood, it's like what was black is now white, what is white is now black. So a total 180 when it comes to everything that's going on. So that's
Okay.
a lot to happen in 1 year.
Yeah, Robert Bell says use the paper to buy gold and silver. Yeah, I think that 2024, 2025, I think the next 6 months are going to be insane for the amount that we learn as a society,
Hmm.
as a people about what's really going on all around us. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, this is
I
definitely
think
the
so.
time of awakening.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. Is Barron Trump a time traveler?
Ooh. He is not of this world, that's for sure. Um, whether we call it a time traveler or being able to walk through the multiverse or any of that, but he did not originate here, that's for sure.
We're talking about his soul, right?
Hmm.
So that's an interesting. So he's a time a time walker. What'd you say?
Yeah, I mean, I just that yeah, whether he knows how to walk through the multiverse or he just knows how to change it, but yeah, his soul is not of this world of Earth that we know of.
Yeah, going forward to look back, right?
Hmm.
Okay, that's interesting. David Gosling wants to know: will the Vatican fall before 2030?
Oh, I was going to say something really really rude about that, but
Yeah, hopefully a lot sooner.
I was like,
2030. That's a long way away.
yeah, I know. Will I get struck down if I say from your mouth to God's ears? I don't know. So, um, um, yeah, it's going to happen before then. It's going to
Yeah.
happen before then.
Yeah, now I heard that they pretty much sacked Alexandria and they burnt down that library as a cover, but they really got all of the important scrolls down in the Vatican archives.
And that makes more sense, right? Because um, it, they worshipped books in that sense. So why would they have burned them all to the ground instead of holding on to them?
Yeah. Well, it explains where they all went.
Hmm.
It was one of the first cover-ups.
Hmm. Yeah,
He also says
one
that
of many.
the same questioner, so I don't know if you need to shuffle again or not. He
Okay.
says, within the matrix, can we alter our destiny?
Yes. Yes, I absolutely believe we can alter our destiny. And then, yeah, when it comes to the cards, it's specifically saying yes. Um, and that it's showing that actually he wants to really change his destiny, which he's on the path to being able to do that. So keep working on it. You're doing it. You're changing it up.
Well, there you go, David. All right. Puck Elf says Christians did not burn Alexandria. What do your cards say about that?
Mm.
I guess I'll leave the question up while you're shuffling here.
Yeah.
I don't think the Catholic Church burning Alexandria is the same as saying Christians burned Alexandria, if you get my drift.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. Yeah. Um, no, I mean they were all interconnected. They're all interconnected. So it's almost like I'm having this feeling of like, yeah, Christians, Catholicism, all of them got together for this one thing, and that is to get rid of their common enemy,
Which was what?
which was like Alexandria and everything
Yeah,
that was going on.
knowledge, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny how you suck up all the knowledge and then keep the people stupid,
hmm
right?
Yep, exactly. Well, and that's kind of like my problem that I had with Catholicism and the cards, right? Is that is the only ones that want to be able to connect to God or to the source or higher power. They're the only ones that want to connect. So if the cards are doing it, then therefore the cards are evil because they're supposed to be the only ones to connect.
Okay. Top Test says, I thought after burning the library, they built several others. Well, they might have, but all the books were gone.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the problem is
Christianity
where
didn't
the
exist
knowledge went.
5,000 years ago, he says.
hmm
Well, I mean, yeah, you might be right there. I mean, I don't know. Somebody burnt down whatever was in the libraries in the Vatican archives now. Let me ask you this. Did the ruler of Germany during World War II, I don't want to say his name,
hmm
did he have secret tech that was given to him by uh extraterrestrials or advanced civilization?
Um, he definitely had um, other knowledge that the rest of the world did not have, and whether that means from extraterrestrials or uh, something that our minds cannot comprehend, he had something other than what the rest of the world had. But unfortunately, um, he took it into a different direction that I think what it was intended for.
Okay. And maybe on the same path, since I guess it's me asking the same question, what does it tell us about Antarctica? Is there an advanced civilization living in Antarctica? Or what could it tell us about Antarctica that's interesting?
Mm. Man, it feels like there's a lot going on down there that like that we haven't even scratched the surface. That's a bit of a pun there too, um, but there seems like there's a lot there, and we are only seeing a very minor bit of what is very possible.
We are
And
as citizens of a government, or we are as humanity.
we are as in humanity.
So even the people that are covering up what they know about it aren't seeing everything.
Correct, correct.
Okay, well, there you go. What is it? Can you? I guess can we? Is it an advanced civilization? I suppose, or is it
Mm.
aliens?
It's advanced weaponry.
Advanced weaponry?
hmm
Well, there you go. You probably don't have any idea what it is.
Mm-mm.
What about UFOs?
hmm
Any anything is say about them? Are they down in Antarctica? Say.
Um, no, I'm not seeing that. Um, whether they were, um, it almost feels like maybe they were there at one point, but not alive now. So whether they were there and have left, or there and have buried themselves under and have since passed, um, but they're not there now.
All right, so their tech is still there,
Yeah,
probably.
yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Yes.
Okay. What about Oh, geez, there's some questions I probably just shouldn't ask on this platform. uh, all right, so I'm not going to ask about certain things. David Gosling wants to know: can the cards tell if I'm evil or good?
Again, I think I come from I believe that everybody is capable of good and evil. So it's not necessarily, yeah, and they're saying the same thing. So you've got, when we're talking about that, you have the love card and you've got the devil card. So talk about good and evil right there. So you have the capacity to do which one you choose to do.
Well, there you go, buddy. Brian wants to know, what does the card say about the year 2025?
Yeah. So we've got that sun card. So that sun card's telling us all about this, this growth and this kind of this growing process that is occurring. It's also talking about the emperor. So it's talking about kind of more of that, bringing in more of that masculine energy. So when I talk about like energies, it doesn't necessarily mean men or women. It's the energy. So it's like that masculine energy. So with that, it's almost like growth of more of the masculine energy, which kind of tells me that more of people that consider themselves masculine are going to do a lot more growth and a lot more I don't want to say like moving up. So it's not like it's going to be like this powerful men year or anything like that, but it's that idea of like men growing, to be able to kind of learn more and do more and try to figure out more of what's going on for 2025.
All right. So Puck Elf is over here in the chat room. He's freaking out. He wants to know if you can just give him a quick basic reading. I'll put his
Sure, yeah.
picture up there for you. He says he doesn't want a question. He just wants a short little basic read, if that's okay.
Okay. Yeah. Just kind of throw it out and.
Now that sun card for 2025, that could be saying solar flare.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought that too. And I think that's where also part of like that knowledge and growth that's going to be coming from it. Do we learn how to avoid too much growth in the sense of the solar flare? Do we learn how to harness that energy? All of that, I think, is all part of it.
All right. And I guess once we get done with Elf here, I've got another question, and then we're just going to wrap it up. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So Elf, what it's kind of saying is that now is the time to be utilizing your intuition. It seems like you're trying to do like a great move. So whether this is a physical move, an internal move, whatever the case might be, but it seems like you're wanting to like break free and break loose. And the only way to be able to do that is to follow that intuition. And so when I say follow that intuition, it's that concept of like, when you're all alone at night, everything is dark, you wake up in the middle of a dream kind of idea. What is your first reaction? That is the closest we can get to our intuition if we haven't been processing it as quickly as others. But I think you already know your answers. You already know exactly where you're needing to go. You know where you need to move to, and you know what's going to cause or create the most happiness. But there's just some fear-based things that are going on with being able to actually pick everything up and move. I mean, that is a hard thing. Nobody wants to actually do that, but I think your intuition is definitely telling you now's the time to do it.
All right. Well, there you go, Elf. Let me ask you this. There's a lot of people that say that the Earth is going to like the crust is going to shift. We're going to have a pole shift, and we're seeing this a lot with the magnetic field is collapsing and everything else. Are we about to have a massive pole shift?
Oh.
And what's the timeline on that look like? Does it look like that's going to be something far off, or something we need to worry about?
Yeah. Well, if it happens, then Denver is supposed to be oceanfront property. So I think I'd be sitting pretty good. Teasing.
No, I hear you. Yeah, and where I'm at down here in Alabama, we're going to be almost on the South Pole, so
Yeah, yeah.
you might be on the ocean, but it's going to be cold.
I was about to say, yeah, yeah. It won't be the fun ocean anymore. So, yeah. I mean, there's that shift. There's that Ace of Swords, which is showing like that shifting from through the winds kind of idea. But we've also got the Four Stones, which is saying that I believe the shifting is going to be coming from strong winds and being able to kind of take away the crust of the earth that's going to make all of this shift end up happening. Oh yeah, they always talk about like the Santa Ana winds, don't they? Of don't they talk about that when it comes to earthquakes?
Yeah, I don't know. I just think that if there's a pole shift, that a lot of us are going
Mhm.
to not make that. We're not
No,
going to survive that.
no,
How about
no.
tidal waves? Say anything about tidal waves?
Yeah, yeah. That's actually what you see in the Ace of Swords when we're looking at that. We're looking at the winds, and with that brings the tidal waves.
Yeah, that's crazy. All right, guys. Well, I don't know what I don't. I mean, let me ask this. What what did the cards tell us about death? What's awaiting us all on the other side? Since things aren't looking too good for us with the pole shift and civil war and the justice coming after a rigged election. What's death? What's death bring us?
Well, when we ask that, it talks about the hanged man. So the hanged man is the person that goes upside down to get a different point of view, a different perspective. And so that's all death is. It's just a different point of view now. It's a different perspective. So we're going to be able to start seeing things, from a different vantage point that we can't see in our meat package.
Yeah, and that's one of the big downfalls of having this meat package is you can't really see it. That's kind of like what I see. Uh, and that brings up another question because I've heard that a lot about this being a prison planet and how there's some kind of box on the moon that's trapping our souls and it's preventing us from ascending properly. Like we just keep getting reincarnated instead of ascending. What does the card say about a soul trap? Is there a soul trap on the moon keeping us on Earth?
I think when we're looking at that, it's the Three of Wands, which is talking about our own character. So that tells me that we're the ones that trap ourselves. And that also means that we're the ones that can release ourselves. So whether what's on the moon is holding it, it's our thoughts and our beliefs about things that are making us trapped, not anybody doing it or not anybody capturing us, but we're believing it. We're believing that we have that we are caught or we're trapped. So it's our own minds, our own belief systems that's making that happen.
All right, and I know I said that I had one more question, but one more. Is the
That's
moon real? Is it a spaceship? What do we see in the future happening to the moon? Is it always going to be there? Is it real? Is it ruins of an ancient civilization? What's truly going on with the moon?
so what comes up when we do that? It's the star card. So I think that that's remnants of a star.
So do you think it was moved here?
Um, I don't know if it was moved here or if it was pushed here to make it happen.
Yeah, that's interesting. All right, so there you go, guys. Did we ever land on the moon?
Well, it shows it shows eight of swords again, which is talking about like everything gets very convoluted, doesn't it?
So is that a yes or a no?
So what's funny is that the cards are saying no, but I believe yes.
Well, you can't argue with the cards, right? You know, I don't know if we did or not. It seems like it seems awfully strange that if we did go to the moon, we stopped going, and we have to relearn how to get there. Like we didn't have filing cabinets back then, and you know what?
That's a
You know
good point.
what a crock of crap if it turns out we never actually made it there.
Right, right.
All right, so let's go ahead and wrap it up. Unless you want to answer some questions about AI.
Oh no, I know. Everybody's been asking me a lot about AI lately.
What do you think? Is that good or bad for humanity?
I think it's the same thing as any other weapon that we have, right? That we can use it for good or evil. And I think that we need to learn how to use it. We need to learn how to operate it, but we also need to put balances and rules on it to make sure that it doesn't turn around and get used for that evil side that we can all get to.
Yeah, AI is one of those things that, you know, I'm not too worried about it because I honestly think we can turn it off at any time at all. I mean,
Yeah,
it's just a matter of shutting down the grid, turning off the internet, you know, electricity
yeah,
going away, and guess what? AI goes away. I mean, at least right now,
yeah. Good
until
point.
it
Good point.
has robots that it can actually build its own
Mhm.
infrastructure.
And then they
Uh,
turn themselves back on. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
and then we there's gonna be no turning it off. It's
Yeah.
gonna be that's what we have to watch out for. Okay, Rachel, thank you so much. What a great show. I
This
mean,
is
it's just time
fun.
just flew by. I mean,
Yeah.
it really wasn't all that I was looking at when we were looking into the show. I mean, we never really got into a lot of these things. Your website's down below, and you should tell everybody where they could find you.
Yeah, you can find me at bridgethegaptarot.com or YouTube channel again, or all the social media at Bridge the Gap Tarot.
All right, and there you go, guys. That's a great show. We're gonna wrap it up. I hope everybody comes back next week. I know I at least have one show next week. I was talking to somebody about possibly coming on Tuesday, but I haven't heard back yet. So we will be back next Thursday for sure, and then it's going to be 2 shows a week after that for the entire month of August. We're going to be pretty booked up. We've got some great guests coming on, and thank you so much, Rachel, for joining us and humoring us today. We had a great time. I hope everybody goes check out her website. Go check out her YouTube channel and subscribe. She hit a lot of things right out of the park here, and I'm seeing a lot of comments about how you've been dead on about a lot of stuff. So
Oh, wonderful. Good, good.
I hope everybody enjoys this, enjoys the show, and give it a thumbs up, everybody. Hang on a second, Rachel. Guys, you know what to do. Batten down the hatches. It's getting serious, and be safe.